Darren Steen here, your Mercola.com healthy lifestyle coach, talking to you today about the 5 reasons why interval cardio outperforms traditional jogging or any other type of cardiovascular exercise for that matter. 5 reasons that I'm going to cover today are time. Number 2 is the fat burning effect from interval cardio. Number 3 is building your heart-lung capacity and the power and the size of your heart and lungs. Number 4 is the way your body stores carbohydrates that you eat in the future. And number 5 is that you build more muscle, more functional, usable muscle, easier on your joints, and it builds your anabolic hormones. So those are the 5. The first one is very important, and that is the amount of time that it takes to do traditional jogging. Usually, traditional joggers run for 45 minutes to an hour and a half, 3 or 4 or 5 times a week. That's 4 to 5 to 6 hours out of your schedule, and with the fast paces of today's society, it's really hard to get all of our fitness program in, working out, stretching, relaxation, meditation, on top of 5 to 6 hours of cardiovascular activity. So all that's needed for interval cardio to be effective for your fat loss fitness program is 2 or 3 30 to 45 minute cardio sessions per week. That's a huge difference in amount of time. So it's a lot easier on the amount of time that you spend performing the exercise. Number 2, and I want to go into a little bit of an in-depth explanation of why the fat burning effect is better with interval cardio. Interval cardio is nothing more than short 60 to 90 seconds of a physical cardiovascular challenge, something that gets your heart rate up. Traditional sprinting on a treadmill for a minute and then walking nice and slow for a couple minutes is a really nice idea of what an interval cardio session is. At the end, we'll cover 5 or 6 ideas that you can use. Most of them are without physical equipment, and that's really nice if you want to do it at home or on the road where you don't have the luxury to go to a workout facility. So the fat burning effect from interval cardio, short bursts of intensity, it is skyrocketed over the traditional jogging, and there's a lot of confusion on this, so really bear with me on this. Traditional jogging is a low intensity, long duration. It's labeled as the fat burning cardio. That's where the misconception comes in. The reason why jogging is labeled the fat burning cardio is because scientists have figured out that when you jog and do a low intensity cardiovascular exercise, and when your heart rate's around 50 to 60% of your max, or around 110 to 130 beats a minute depending on your age, that the majority of the calories that are burned for that type of exercise come from the fat cells. Maybe 70 to 80% come from the fat cells because that's how the body works, and that's where it goes to get the energy needed for that low intensity jog. On the other hand, when you do short, intense sprints or physical challenges that last only 60 to 90 seconds, the body cannot go to the fat cells. It goes to the liver and glycogen stored in the muscles. It uses the glucose and glycogen. That is nothing more than what your body breaks down carbohydrates into. It's the fuel for your engine. It's what the body uses if you're going to get intense for 60 seconds. Okay, now bear with me now. Here's the fat burning effect advantage. When you do an intense interval challenge, short bursts, your body goes into the fat cells. Your body goes and uses the glycogen and the glucose stored in the muscles. And you perform that cardiovascular exercise, it takes about 30 minutes. That exercise is so intense that for the 6 to 8 hours after that session, your body is burning more calories for that time frame after the exercise because of the intensity of the exercise, and it takes that long for the body to come back down to homeostasis. So the advantage is the extra calorie burn after the cardio session is done. You don't get that with traditional jogging. When you're done with your hour of jogging, the extra calories that are burned and the extra fat burning effect ends right there. So you have to jog to burn calories. You don't get that 6 to 8 hour window afterwards to burn the extra calories. And because fat loss is about a lot of things, but the most important thing it is about is calories in and calories burnt. It's amount of total calories that you burn with interval cardio. That's the advantage. It's not so much where your body gets the calories from, the energy for those calories. It's the total calorie burn, and your total calorie burn is way higher with interval cardio. Number 3 advantage, bigger heart and lungs, more power and size from your heart and lungs. The heart and lungs are muscles, albeit slightly different than skeletal muscles, but they're still muscles, and they respond to exercise the same way. If you're wanting to build up your biceps or your chest muscles or any skeletal muscle, the idea is to get a weight that's proper, a little heavier weight, and go until about 10 or 12 repetitions, and you can't get any more, squeezing out those last couple repetitions. Okay, that's what makes the muscles grow bigger, hypertrophy, and get stronger. Conversely, if I put a weight in my hand, about a 2-pound weight, and lifted it 100 to 200 times, 2 or 3 sets every other day, the size of my arm would atrophy and it would get smaller. The reason why is the body's smart and it wants to conserve energy, it wants to survive. It knows it's going to burn a lot of calories with that bigger muscle moving that light weight for that many repetitions, so it gets smaller. The heart and the lungs respond the same way. When you do low intensity jogging, the heart and the lungs get smaller. It loses what it doesn't use. It wants to conserve energy, so it makes the muscle size and amount of muscle in the heart and lungs smaller, so it can be more efficient and not burn as many calories. That's not good for aging gracefully. Having a big heart and big lungs are one of the most important things in your quest for living long and strong to 90, 100, or 120, God willing. So you want to do the cardiovascular exercise that builds up the power and the size and the strength of your heart and lungs, and that's interval cardio. It's not low intensity jogging. Okay? Number 4, the way your body stores carbohydrates. This is huge. I touched on it a little bit earlier when I was talking about the fat burning effect. And that is when you do jogging type cardio, the body says, wow, it's a great thing I had the energy in the fat cells to supply the energy for that jogging session. So when you eat carbohydrates in the future, it's going to store more of those carbohydrates as fat in the fat cells, so you create a fat storage machine. Conversely, when you do short bursts of intensity, interval cardio, your body does not go to the fat cells, as we discussed earlier. It goes into the glycogen and the glucose in the muscles and the liver. When it gets the energy for those short bursts of intensity, just like weight training, it says, wow, it's a good thing I had those stores there. So when you eat carbohydrates in the future, it trains itself to store more of those carbohydrates as glucose and glycogen in the muscles and the liver. Therefore, your gas tanks get bigger. Those gas tanks of glucose and glycogen are anabolic. They burn energy sitting there while you're sleeping. Your body raises BMR to burn more calories because that is fuel, and it burns energy sitting there, whereas fat does not. So that's another advantage to changing the way your body stores those carbohydrates by doing interval cardio. This is huge. Not a lot of people understand this. So when you do interval cardio, your body becomes an energy storage machine. Conversely, when you do cardio, jogging type exercises, your body becomes a fat storage machine. This is really large in the fat loss program. Number 5, you build more muscle, you become more functional with that muscle, you're easier on the joints, you conserve your joints, and you boost your anabolic hormones. Take a look at any elite sprinter. They got way more muscle mass than a marathon runner. The reason why is the intensity of those short bursts of intensity helps your body's anabolic hormones, your testosterone, your growth hormone, all your anabolic hormones. It helps boost those naturally, the best way to boost them. And therefore, when you lift weights and when you do other activity, you're able to build more muscle in your legs and your hips and your chest and your buns, all those things. So boosting your anabolic hormones is very large on short bursts of intensity type activity. The second thing is easier on the joints. When you jog for an hour, you can't take the tension into your muscles because it's too long. But when you do something for 60 seconds, you can keep your body tense and make sure that the tension goes to the muscles, and therefore it makes the joints a lot more safe and stress relief. I could go on and on about the advantages of interval cardio. I wrote a book called Cardio Kills. It kills your joints, it kills your time, it kills your hormones, it kills your heart and lung capacity. For crying out loud, Philippides, the very first person that ran a marathon in ancient Greece, 26.3 miles, to warn of the oncoming soldiers, he dropped dead. And now it's coming out this year in Detroit, 3 people died within 30 minutes of running a marathon in Detroit. So I wrote the book not intending to really let people think that they were dying from running marathons, but now they actually are. So I wanted to talk to you about a couple examples of interval cardio that you can perform. I love interval cardio on a treadmill. Short 60 to 90-second jogs on the treadmill. We will attach a cardiovascular cheat sheet on interval cardio on the treadmill along with this video. All you want to do is you want to do plyometric type exercises. You want to do flying Romans. You want to do something intense with no equipment for 60 to 90 seconds to get your heart rate up. You want to walk it off. You want to recover. And you want to do 5 or 6 or 7 of those. You want to put 2 or 3 minutes of rest in between to get your heart rate before you do the next intense challenge. So there you go. 5 reasons why interval cardio outperforms traditional jogging type cardio.